Yo, what's happening with what's happening?
Welcome to What's Happening. I'm Brad.
I'm Fred.
It's a show we talk about what's happening. What's happening with you, bro?
Man, just got done playing a middle school basketball game, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't playing it.
Hey, it ain't the first time you made that statement, but I've already made that joke before, so I'll just go ahead and let it go this time. You can't keep making the same joke, episode after episode.
I feel you, but yeah, we just lost one. We beat them last time in a close game by 2, and they ran up on us today. So it's not a good day in the coaching world. But other than that, I'm fine. Trying to figure out how to make $1 million. What's up with you, bro?
Hey, but ain't the phrase "every loss is a lesson"? Something to that effect.
I mean, it is, but.
I'm trying to help you.
Like it.
I'm just trying to help you find something out of it, brother. That's all. I'm trying to help you out.
We're talking about middle school ball, bro. My job ain't on wins and losses. It's on.
Nah, I dig it. I ain't mad at you. Man, I'm cool though, man. I but I caught COVID last week, and it was crazy because in retrospect, I started having symptoms last Monday night, but then Tuesday, just a little bit of a scratchy throat all day is kind of annoying. Leave it alone, not worried about it. And Wednesday, my throat was just like real scratchy, and I'm like, well, this is weird, like. And then, on Wednesdays is when I go to the church and I help with the food distribution. I don't know, man. Something just like, you know what? Let me go ahead and get tested before I go anywhere else. We have the at-home test. Sure enough, man, I pop out with that COVID. And I'm like, what? This is crazy. And then, like, I walked outside and went to cut the grass because I couldn't go nowhere. But it actually knocked me down, real good on Wednesday night. Like I couldn't stay asleep. Or I'm sorry, I couldn't stay awake after I was struggling to stay awake after like 8 p.m. last week on Wednesday night, and then I just had like no energy. But it was pretty mild, bro. Today is no symptoms, so I've been cool, man. But just dealing with that, man. Baby girl had it as well, but she been bouncing around the house, so we've been fortunate around these parts. You know what I'm saying? We had it, but none of the shortness of breath, no hospital visits, nothing like that at all. We've been.
I got you. I feel that. I mean,
appreciate you, Tiffany. I see you in the comments.
I was just about to say something to it. But yeah, you know how it is. We family, bro. So as long as y'all good, we good. Glad
most definitely.
Spread or wasn't too serious. But yeah.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, we got a nice little docket today. You ready to go ahead and get into it?
Indeed.
Let's do it. So I think I want to start up with the Robert Sarver situation. So, last year, our very first episode, we talked about how Robert Sarver, who is the majority owner of the Phoenix Suns, there was a story that dropped that he just had this disgusting history of racism and misogyny and harassment, and it was bad. ESPN dropped this report. We covered it in the whole episode. We covered different scenarios. I talked about knowing some people some women that had gone through some harassment type scenarios, things of that nature. I would encourage anybody that's never checked that episode out, definitely listen to it. I said it's the very first episode, so just search What's Happening wherever you get your podcast and scroll all the way to the bottom or all the way to the top, depending on how your particular app lays it out. The very first podcast, What's Happening in Phoenix. Last week, the NBA finally completed its investigation and announced that they could confirm that they caught him creating this disgusting culture. They caught him, not caught him, but they 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 have reason to believe that he has in fact used the N word at least 5 times in different settings over his tenure of ownership of the Phoenix Suns. He also owns the Phoenix Mercury, the WNBA team. Um, Basically, they said it's true, and the punishment is a $10 million fine, which is the maximum fine allowed, and a 1 year suspension, meaning he cannot have any role. He can't attend meetings. He can't have any role play in trade talks and all of this, that, and the third. He can't do anything with the team. So, what you thinking, bro?
Well, bro, I'm gonna say this is probably the mildest punishment I've seen. You know what I'm saying? Like most people probably would think 10 million is not calling it mild, but when you're talking to people like them, 10 million is like $10. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, they feel it. Everybody feels 10 million.
Yeah, but I mean, like realistically, for this guy, 10 million is probably $50 for us. You know what I'm saying?
Right, like it's what I'm saying. It's felt when it leaves, but it'll come back. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that that part bothers me. Like I'm glad they're giving the money to charities. That fits the description of what I'm saying, the punishment. But then you have the 1 year ban, should you say, suspension, ban, whatever you want to call it, from his own company, his own franchise, part of the NBA and WNBA. He can't be at meetings and make decisions.
Right.
But we know how that goes. He doesn't necessarily have to be there for his opinion to walk through the door. You know what I'm saying? So you really, with something like that, I don't think you can really remove him unless you remove him. You know what I mean? Like just giving him a suspension, I don't know if it's necessarily fair, but the problem I think also came into play that they did state in the article was that it wasn't just him. It was him and other people who no longer work there, of course, that was in on this and that was making these, using these words and creating this culture with him. And that within itself is a problem as well, because it shows his hiring, his judge of character. I think it shows a lot more than just saying, oh, he said the N-word, 5 times or more.
Right. One thing that I remember we unpacked when we talked about this last year was that the entire organization, like the HR department, was essentially worthless when it came to dealing with things in that organization. It was terrible, and it's one of those things where the business side of it gets ugly, right? So people that don't necessarily pay attention to sports or don't, pay attention to the business behind sports in the great detail, there's 2 things that are happening. One, they don't understand that Adam Silver, who is the commissioner, he works for the owners. The owners are the ones that own the league. So Robert Sarver is by measurement an equal partner of the 29 other majority owners of the NBA, and they all collectively employ and pay Adam Silver, who is the commissioner. So Adam Silver could have banned him for life, could have banned Robert Sarver for life.
Yeah.
And he didn't do that. And the first thing people think about is, well, that's what he did to Donald Sterling.
Yep.
Those of you might remember back in 2014, Donald Sterling, who used to be the owner of the Los Angeles Clippers, an audio recording dropped on TMZ of him using the N-word, saying that he doesn't want black people at his games, this, that, the other. Specifically talking about Magic Johnson, who's like
A LA favorite.
you can't. There's few people. There's some people in LA you can't talk bad about ever. Magic, you can't talk bad about Kobe. You can't talk bad about Snoop. And like Magic is one of them people. You do not talk bad about them in LA. Um, um, and yeah, so when that happened, Adam Silver, I'm mixing up names. Adam Silver banned Donald Sterling for life from the NBA. Go ahead. What were you about to say?
Well, no, I was about to add that in there. You know, you my dog. You gonna cover it.
So the mistake that people are making is banning Donald Sterling for life is not what removed Donald Sterling from having ownership of the team. I actually only sometime last year ESPN did a 30 for 30 podcast series on the Sterling tapes and everything that happened. And what I had missed or at least had forgotten was that Donald Sterling's wife went to court. Shelley Sterling went to court, got him deemed to, and I'm paraphrasing at this point, but to some capacity, got him deemed mentally incapable of fulfilling his duties as the owner. She became the de facto owner, and she sold it. She sold the franchise from under him, and he couldn't do anything about it. Now he didn't fight it because he got $2 billion for it, billion with the B.
Right.
But I think that to the untrained eye, to those that aren't paying attention, to those that are just forgetting, because like I said, even I forgot. You saw him get banned, and then before the next season started, the Clippers had a new owner. We ain't seen Donald Sterling on TV since, right? That's not what happened. The wife kind of helped make it work. And then back in 2018, I had forgotten that this happened. The Atlanta Hawks had a situation. They were their owner and their leadership. They were sending some racist emails on scouting players and things of that nature. I'm forgetting how it went down. Yeah. But then the person who owned the team at that time, he was just like, you know what? For the betterment of the NBA, it's better that I just go ahead and sell it. So this is now 3 times in 8 years that we've had serious allegations and serious evidence of NBA owners making racist and derogatory and hateful claims and statements. But in each time, in the previous 2, the first time when the team was sold, the wife played legal monopoly and sold it from under her husband's from under her. And then the second time, the owner said, "You know what? I'm gonna just do the right thing on my own." It didn't have to get ugly, right? And that's not what's happening in Phoenix. So, in order for Robert Sarver to sell the team, he has to say, "You know what? It's time for me to just go ahead and sell this team. Let me be done with it." It's probably not going to happen based off the kind of person that he is, number one. The other thing that would have to happen is that he would have to be forced to sell the team by the NBA. And by the NBA, that means the other owners. And it requires a 24. So whatever percentage that is, 24 out of 30, is that 80%? A 4/5 majority, I think that's what that sounds right. Hopefully my math is right. But that requires 80% or 24 of the remaining 29 owners to vote for him, to force him to sell the team. That's the only other way that it could happen right now. What do you think the chances of that happening?
It's gonna be slim to none. I mean, heck, they really wasn't voting for Donald Sterling to have to sell his. As you said, his wife was the one that made that
Yeah.
happen by, you know what I'm saying, undercutting him and getting him out the way. But I mean, I think that has a big problem within it too, because you're telling me that basically out of 30 teams, that 6 or more thinks like that person. That's all it takes, is for 6 or more to think like that person.
Yeah.
And since when didn't a majority usually wins? At what point do a company use 80% as the tally of, you know, making a decision? If we're gonna put this in a voting situation, I think that is set up so that it doesn't, you know, show more people like him. You know what I mean? You can actually get away with, okay, this time a few of y'all gonna be the bad guys. Next time y'all can be the bad guy. You know what I mean? We can spread it around and share the burden to help it go away without using as many people, is what that sounds like to me. You know, and on top of it, it wasn't just that Donald Sterling was using racial marks. He referred to players in slave-like manner.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's one thing to use a derogatory or racial term or word versus, you know, referring to somebody as indeed that. You know, that's you're crossing a different plane. You know what I mean, when you put those two up against each other. Because one could say anybody, you know what I'm saying, is the N word, and then another person could say, well, no, it's just black people, which we all know that, you know, to some it's just black people, but to ones that we would say is more intelligent, it can be anybody. You know what I mean? And that there's just a word. But when you treat somebody in the manner of, you know, of being a slave or what have you, that crosses a different threshold in that manner. Like, I don't know. Like, to me, it just using, you know, nigga is not, I can't say just using the word nigga is worth selling a multi-million-dollar company versus treating the employees as, you know, like you're a slave master, is worth forcing somebody out of a company.
Well, so I wouldn't say one over the other. You know, I feel like we had this conversation before where I said something to the effect of like the weight of your impact versus the number of things you've done. I think this is a situation where we're talking about the weight and the number. Like, we're talking 19 years or 18 years before, you know, everything else went down last year. There's just so much that, you know, that's there. And I think the other thing that plays a role in it too is the impact, right? So here's a real little situation, right? I've heard, just to make it more realistic, right? I've heard for years, and this is a topic that we probably would have covered if we would have recorded an episode last week versus me digging in the archives. But, you know, I've heard for years people say, oh, Chick-fil-A hates gay people, right? I've never seen anything to corroborate that. That's never been my experience when I go to a Chick-fil-A. Obviously, the people that, you know, that hand me my spicy chicken sandwich and say, you know, have a good day, that's different from, you know, the owners of an organization, right? So I've heard these things that about Chick-fil-A. It's like, yeah, that sucks, whatever, this, that, the other, right? Versus, you know, sometime last week, I saw a tweet from Chick-fil-A's verified Twitter account where somebody was saying that they need spicy grilled nuggets. It was clearly a black dude, and the Chick-fil-A account. Oh yeah, I shared it. The Chick-fil-A account The
No, we
verified
talked
Chick-fil-A
about it
account.
2 weeks
Oh,
ago.
we did talk about it? Not on the show. Okay.
You were a guest on another show, and I believe we brought it up then.
Oh, on Unapologetically
Yeah,
Black. See,
Black
I'm
show.
old.
Yeah.
I'm old. I be forgetting stuff. But so to that point, right? When I saw them say your community, when we get spicy grilled nuggets, your community to be the first one to know. Like it hits different when you see it, right? And so I bring up that story to say, it's one thing for us to read some news articles and read a statement from the NBA saying that Donald Sterling say these things. I'm sorry, man, I mix up these white dudes. To say that Robert Sarver said these things.
That's a racist way to say it.
It is. It is. But when the Donald Sterling thing came out, we had video, we heard it, and it just hits different when you see it and when you experience it directly. So I think that that impact made Adam Sterling Silver. God,
you just mixed 3 Caucasian males in the same
sentence. They all S's. We got Sterling, Silver, and
Sarver. Yeah. But I mean, it really brings up to speaking of real podcast point is the players.
I forgot bro's real name, but shout out to him.
You know what I'm saying? But the players do need to make a bigger thing out of, certain situations, which it goes back to, I believe, when we had I can't even think of Lawrence and Dom, but I was trying to think of their podcast. But
Ingenious Perspectives. Shout out to the homies.
Ingenious Perspectives. When we had them on,
I can remember Ingenious Perspectives, but I can't keep up with Silver, Sarver, and Surfer and Silver.
Hey, it's what you want to remember. But it does, like we said with them was it. A lot of times we sit back because of how we believe it's going to affect us, and we don't say nothing when we should. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, with Speaking of Real podcast, said that the players need to make a bigger thing out of it, which it takes me back to a video I seen of Draymond. He hosted a camp. I guess he had about 40 campers there, and I mean he cussed their ass out, and rightfully so. You know what I mean? Like he told him, he said, listen, he's like, this is my first game going up and down in the gym. You know what I'm saying? We doing running, whatnot. And he like, the reason 3/4 of y'all ain't gonna make it is because you don't finish through. He like, the line's right here. We running sprints. The line's right here, and you want to stop right before the line like it don't matter. You wanna be able to go up and down, but you got Pascal Siakam, beating you up and down the court. How you think you're gonna make it into the NBA? So he went on to say, there's 2 people on every team that can do whatever the fuck they want to do. The other 13 players have a role to play. Either you're gonna master your role and become good at your role, or you're not gonna make it. And it's in that same token to where there's 13 other players that see this shit going on, but they can't do whatever the fuck they want to do. They can't say whatever they want to say because of how it may affect them. It's going to take the other 2 who could do whatever they want to do on that team and say what they want to say to push it and them jump behind it.
Yeah,
but it's on them to make something out of it. But see, they rather go with the media agenda, which, don't get me wrong, of all the slogan T-shirts that they wear to promote, awareness to all the different issues and crises that's happening across America. But at the same time, there's bigger issues right there inside their organizations that they're working for that they letting just go right past them. Why they out there wearing a shirt to support other issues?
I get where you're going, but that's easily a misrepresentation because not necessarily every player knows not every player knows that like what's going on in the front office. We already talked about like these are massive corporations, so I wouldn't say that they're like looking past this to do something else. That no, I wouldn't say that. But then number two, to go beyond that, you've already had LeBron come out and say it's not enough. You've already had Chris Paul, who played for the Phoenix Suns. He's come out to say it's not enough. That's the players that I've known so far. And I mean, LeBron is
I
LeBron.
mean, they're well, those two are best friends, so that kind of helps out
Well,
one another. You
well,
know,
forget the best friends thing. LeBron is LeBron, and then Chris Paul, he just stepped down from being the president of the Players Association. These are leaders and seasoned veterans, first ballot Hall of Famers stepping up that got their money made, that could retire right now if they wanted, or they could just keep playing because they got billions to make on their player contracts, but they've got millions more in the bank ready to go. Like these are people who don't need to say something, and they stepped up. And then on top of that, you have the one of the minority owners of the Phoenix Suns who's also said that Sarver needs to step down. Now, we'll see. The NBA is in its talks with a collective bargaining agreement. This is how the players and how the owners split the money. There's an early termination clause that the players are expected to execute this year, meaning that the CBA would end at the end of this upcoming 2022-23 season. Um, I haven't seen anything to suggest it, but that is something that you can see the players potentially leverage. Hey, we're not gonna play. It's not the first time, right? Jacob Blake got shot in 2020, and they stopped the playoffs. They were just like, no, we're not gonna play, right? That's the thing that could happen. Number one. Number
but
two.
that goes back to that all basically, and it's crazy. That still all fell on 1 to 2 players. Without them saying, "Hey, look, yeah, I'm gonna stand with it, and we ain't gonna play," they didn't have that pool. That doesn't work without those certain players. You know what I'm saying? And then
Yeah.
to go back to you said that you know that basically what I said was, what was the word you used? You basically what I said when I was, saying that it's like looking over, the other, you was like that's not right to call it that way, basically.
Oh yeah.
But in a sense, it is because, even though Chris Paul, is the NBA, player association president, he still needs LeBron to speak up to help the situation. You know what I'm saying? So to be able to say like, hey, they're not looking over one cause to fight for another, you know what I'm saying? Because these players already made money, you can't say that.
No. That's not what I was saying. What I was saying was you had said that players are looking past stuff that's going on in the organization to fight for stuff that's happening in the media. What I was saying is that was two separate things. I was saying that players may not necessarily know. Like the players aren't hanging out with the guys that
really
sell
think they
tickets as
don't
account
know?
managers.
You really think that players don't know what's going on? As much as these players bounce around from different organizations, for one. For two, as much as they kick it with each other in the off season, work out with one another, they not talking and having these, conversations. you think they really don't know?
That's what I'm saying. Like the players aren't kicking it with the account managers that make $45,000-$50,000 a year selling tickets. They aren't kicking it with the people that are in charge of selling,
Okay,
packages, like the non-basketball side of the organization.
You saying that's where this issue is happening is with the non-basketball side, or where the
not all of it
made.
Not all of it. Earl, the guy that used to be the coach there for Earl Watson, former player Earl Watson, he said that he caught. I mean, he put his name on the ticket in the article that we talked about last year, saying that he had to tell Robert Sarver that he couldn't use the N-word. So no, not all of it, but like the stories of like women being told that they can't, like that they're worth less when they're pregnant. That's not a player. That's women that work in the front office in some capacity. I remember us talking about the ALS challenge. Robert Sarver pants the guy. Like that was just like he was an account manager. He was a season ticket seller. Yeah, like that's not like I can see players not knowing about that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But we'll see.
And that thing too, like it's not like those people can go to a player like, hey, look, this is what's happening.
Right.
Yeah, that's not gonna ever happen in that situation.
Right. The other thing too to watch is corporate sponsorships. So the one thing I know for now is, and we got to move on. We've been on this topic for a minute. PayPal, they have a partnership with both the Phoenix Sun and the Phoenix Mercury, both teams that Robert Sarver owns. They put out a statement saying that our contract is actually set to expire. Our sponsorship deal is set to expire at the end of this year. If Robert Sarver is involved in the organization at that point, we're not re-signing. So, I mean, you got players speaking up. You got a minority owner speaking up. You got the media speaking up. You got at least one massive corporate sponsor already pulling out.
That means there's more to it than just we're talking N-word, slander, that type of deal. Like, there's got to be more to it. If you got big companies pulling out, you know what I mean?
Well, it's everything.
Sides on, then there's got to be something more to it that they're not sharing.
Well, no, it's everything. That the NBA statement, in short, it says, hey, the stuff that we found out is true, but this is the route that we're going. We're going to suspend them for a year. We're going to fine them $10 million, and that's it. So, like, it's not that it's more. It's that these people are saying it's not enough.
It's not harsh enough.
It's not harsh enough, and more needs to be done. So they're going to attack them in their pockets. And, I mean,
that's
see how it works.
That's fine, because I did say that it's a very mild
right
sentencing or reprimand, from them or from anybody, because in the same token, I feel like players get fined, heavier in multiple situations than what he did for what his actions. I get that's the maximum, but there should be clauses for one-off situations or things that goes outside the guidelines of what you didn't think would be there. So.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how it plays out, man. We got a season coming up. I'm sure more droplets will come out as the season progresses, and I'm really interested to see if the players do something with these with the CBA. I'm really interested to see if they move in some capacity towards that. So we'll see, man. Let's move on. So, I didn't realize I put this stupid story in the headline, so I don't want to do false advertisement. Did you see this thing about Ray J and Kim Kardashian?
Yeah, I've seen it.
What? So for the listeners, and tell me, correct me if I got any part of it wrong, but essentially what's happening is, if you hear Ray J and Kim Kardashian and you're over the age of 25, you probably know that something dropped 15 years ago. Ray J, Kim Kardashian, it was
they OnlyFans. That's what they did.
Listen, it was the early version of OnlyFans. You know what I'm saying? When they was when they was only trying to market to the fans or whatever it was, man, that was a terrible one. But I did it anyway. But essentially, Ray J is saying, like, this is actually a whole Excuse me. I guess I still got a little bit of it in me. No, I just need some water. But I'm gonna drink this apple juice. Give me a second.
That boy lied. Ain't no apple juice.
The line of truth ain't in me, huh?
I ain't seen apple juice foam like that in a minute.
It's cider.
Well, get it right then.
All right. So I guess on one of their shows between Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and I think they have a new show. It's just called The Kardashians. I don't know. I ain't never watched none of it. I have no intention on watching any of it at any point in my life. But I guess, listen, we the same. But I guess something happened in the show to where Kim Kardashian basically insinuated that Ray J kind of duped her. Go ahead.
What happened was, I believe it was North, but one of Kanye and Kim's kids was on Roblox, and there was an ad that pop up and says that I can't say to the exact. I don't know if they were selling Kim's sex tape. Second part of Kim's sex tape, or said that they had a second part of Kim and Ray J's sex tape. But however it happened, it caused the child to call mom in there and be like, "Hey, look, I'm on the game, and these folks talking about they got you and some other cat, you know what I'm saying, doing the do." So she freaks out, called Kanye. Kanye says he gets the laptop from Ray J to save the day, but I don't know if he's really saving the day or if he was trying to use it as, you know what I'm saying, extra proof. But basically to say that you know, nobody loved Kim. It was just using her as a commodity and what have you. But yeah, it was reckless. It was wild. But what I did learn from it is that reading it about the sex tape, they said that, and you know, they could say one way or another, but you know, I'm gonna go with Steve Harvey in this situation and say it went with the way they said it. So basically, Kim didn't want the sex tape to get out, and Kim got her lawyer involved before it got out the first time, and so there was a deal made for $5 million a piece for, you know, this Vivid Entertainment to release this sex tape. Kim still was kind of adamant on it not being released. They never said Ray J was or was not. But that's why I say I'm going to go with Steve Harvey, because for $5 million, I would show my black ass to America. You know what I mean? So I can see where Ray J probably did not oblige, you know what I'm saying, especially around this time. I mean, he had a great hit. He probably knew he didn't have not a whole bunch more in the vault coming behind it. An extra $5 million kind of sealed the deal. I can see where that plays out, you know, in that situation. But however, long story short, after that, they say that Kim and her folks, I guess, basically stole Ray J and his family's money through credit cards. And so his mom sues them for credit card fraud, and it was settled out of court, but it took forever. And so Ray J went on a whole spiel about how they stole from his family, and it took them forever to pay it back, but they did get it back. In a nutshell, I just gave you everything with that whole story.
Well, but then like there was a part of it where they were basically trying to say that it was Ray J's idea to do the sex tape, but then Ray J is now saying that it was Kris Jenner, the mama's idea to do it. Did you see that part?
I didn't see that part, but it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
like they've made their name in life off of black men and exploitation at some point.
You're not wrong there.
that wouldn't surprise me. What surprised me is Ray J acting like, he wasn't in for the money too, because one thing, what I'm saying, about, Miss Jenner, y'all could talk about it if you want to, but I'm pretty sure she walking up to every one of you Negroes talking about, listen, whether you want to or not, this is what you stand to make. And I know y'all taking it. You look, you shaking your head, smiling, but
I'm laughing.
Your head smiling because our people. Let's not go there.
I'm laughing because you just gonna hit her with the see. I like you and I want you.
Yeah.
Now we can do this the easy way or the hard way.
The hard way, you know what I'm saying?
The choice is yours.
It's yours. You know what I'm saying? She almost like Queen Elizabeth when it comes to the Kardashians. You know what I'm saying? Like she.
No, you didn't.
Hey, it was better than yours, I can tell you.
Oh.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, we all know who they are. We all know what, what I'm saying, they do, how they go after their money, and I have to say the mom is very great at business. You know what I'm saying? You might not like Donald Trump. You might not like, Miss Kardashian. There's certain people that y'all don't like, but them people y'all don't like is filthy rich. They smart when it comes to making the money. Y'all buy into it. Y'all give them the views they need. Y'all carry it like wildfire, and they get paid.
Y'all, huh?
Half the time I'm late. Somebody sending me the link and I still ain't seen it. So I can't say I helped share it or spread it. And if you go look at my page, I ain't shared and spread a whole lot. Hell, Facebook paid me to make reels and I still ain't doing enough. So come on.
And with that said, and that's that on that.
Need Miss Jenner to come help me with my reels. I guarantee I'll be $1 million man.
Man, she can help you get to be a $5 million man while you playing.
Miss Jenner.
Hi, Miss Jenner.
Yeah, buddy, because somebody should hit baby DL.
So, dude, I had to drop my microphone and everything.
Oh, holla.
Bruh.
Let's go.
Bruh. All right. Did you see everybody acting up about the Little Mermaid?
Oh, my God. Listen.
When I say everybody, I mean, it's really only a few, but you know how we do. You know how this internet do. We gonna give it some air. We gonna give it some airtime.
Listen, the internet is undefeated. I love it for various reasons. It never lets you down. It picks you up when you want to frown. I mean, the internet is the greatest place to be. So, Ariel, she's black.
So let's get it out there. Let's get it out there. Everybody should know this by now, but in the event that you don't, it's cool. We're going to tell you what's happening, right? New version, a live action version of The Little Mermaid is going to come out next year. The trailer dropped. Halle Bailey is Ariel. Halle Bailey is black. White people on the internet got mad about it. Not all white people. Like, there's going to be white people that listen to this and be like, I'm not mad. I'm not talking about you, obviously. Don't do that, right? But there's some that actually got mad about it. I saw this group, bro. I saw this group on Facebook. It was called Christians Against the Black Little Mermaid or the New Little Mermaid or White Christians, something to that effect, right? Or it's like Christians. It was like Christians boycotting the Little Mermaid. When I first saw the group, it had like 16 members. Went back like 3 hours later, 8.8K members in the group. And at that point, I'm like, I don't know if this is like people are actually mad about it or is it just a big troll group? Like, I couldn't tell.
Listen, we always miss the boat. So I'm about to share a gem with whoever listens to this because we need to get better about it. We should have made that group. Hey, listen. Facebook pay you when you get 10,000 people to join your group. Facebook pay you. Listen, this is what people do all day long. This was the same way Donald Trump got elected with the social media thing. You make the group, then you add a bunch of people who agrees with that ideology, and then you share a bunch of bull crap, and now you're getting paid because they're liking and they're sharing and they're doing. And then the whole time they don't even know that they're supporting the black people. We got to get better at this, y'all. Let's start beating them to the punch. They get mad. Let's make groups. Straight up.
Let's make groups.
I swear. I mean, why not? You got a 13-year-old probably somewhere in India or Europe or Russia that got all these folks in this damn group catching a check from Facebook just to help add and share for stuff that people already gonna feel and like. It's wrong. But I'm the same person that would invest into a casket company because I know you gotta die. So I could care less about the morals aspect to it. Pay me. Y'all going there anyway. But all right, let's go on.
He said, it's wrong.
Bruh. Hey, these them days that we sit at that kiosk, boy, in dead tears, folks looking at us like we ignorant.
I thought you was at work. I am, I promise. This fool here on the other side of this phone.
But yeah, but nah, like the whole thing with the Little Mermaid being black, y'all got to get over it. Like, y'all really do. Like, at some point, it should be great for a little young black child, you know, colored child, biracial child, whichever way you want to slice that pie, be able to look up at the screen and look at one of those characters that from their childhood and say, she looked like me. I actually seen a TikTok where there's a white dude that he's like,
he had Down syndrome, right?
No, I don't think he had Down syndrome. He was just like, he was like, white people said, oh my God, they made Ariel black. This is an outrage. Oh. And then he shows like, I don't know, it was like maybe 10, 15 different clips of little black girls seeing this black Ariel trailer. And it's like, oh my God, she looks like us. Like, I mean, just, you know, going. And then he comes back and say, if you don't understand, then there's something wrong with you. You are racist. You know what I mean? Like, he basically calls out the white people who are outraged behind it. You know, and my thing is, what difference did it make for you? You know what I'm saying? If the storyline's still the same. And for the people I'm saying like that is outrage behind it, what difference does it really make because to me, I'm gonna be honest, I could care less who they casted for Lion King, especially when was it James Earl Jones?
Yeah.
Once he passed, like, I knew he couldn't be the voice, you know. No, he did get to be the voice before he passed.
He ain't dead.
Huh? Are you serious? Would you the historian, so you would know. But I could have sworn they said he passed like either right after or you went mute on me, bro.
I really touched my cord. Let me tell you how black you are.
Who am I thinking of?
He's not dead. His character died on Coming to America too. That's what you thinking about.
Oh, listen, I be trying to keep up with you know, from my childhood, but I be missing some of the pieces. But here's my thing.
He is 91 years old now.
I knew he was up there, you know what I'm saying? But I you know, my bad. I ain't trying to wish nothing on my man. You know what I'm saying?
It's all good.
It's the brother in me. You know what I mean? But
But
what I'm saying is, I could care less who they really casted for Lion King, and I'm gonna tell you right now, when they remade Lion King, they fucked up the whole movie because the one part wasn't in there. I don't give a fuck what went on in that movie, but that part where Rafiki hit Simba with that damn stick, and he said, "Ow, that hurt." You know what I'm saying? And then he swung again and he dodged that mug, you know what I'm saying? After he gave him that little speech, that was monumental, like in that movie. Like, for that not to be in there, that killed the whole movie for me. I ain't give a fuck about the cast. Everybody tripping about Beyonce being Nala or whoever she was. I gave two fucks. It was just the parts that need to be there, that the symbolic parts of the movie that made it special. So
somebody get hit with a stick.
no, it was what he said. He said something like, he was like, that hurt. He said, you're always thinking in the past. The past hurts. So then when he swung it again, he dodged it, you know what I'm saying? And it just showed like learning, you know what I'm saying, from your mistakes and not always trying to dwell on, you know what I'm saying, what happened in the past. Like that was very symbolic to, you know what I'm saying, the movie.
Yeah.
And it wasn't in the remake. They fucked up the whole movie. It ain't had nothing to do with the cast.
That one part messed it all up for you.
That one part, but my thing is, and I'm gonna say this for any movie, if you're gonna do a remake, it's called a remake. It ain't called a rendition of, you know what I'm saying, my version of. It's a remake. It should be verbatim. Then nobody asks you the reason it was what it was and the box office number says what it was because it was what it was, not because you come in here and say, "Ooh, our characters look way better because, you know, technology and time has changed." The movie, it should be the movie. I should be able to talk this whole movie out with these new ass characters and these great ass graphics.
Now, see, that is where I disagree with you. I like getting alternate retellings of stories.
That's
now,
Lion King and a half. That's where you get a new story.
I disagree with you. I like it, but it's also indicative of the fact that like that tells a lot, and that's like a whole other topic. How much nostalgia sells? Like we'll buy a remake of the same thing just because it's like, oh, I remember this when I was a kid.
Listen,
like
that's not the only reason we will. The stuff nowadays is trash, and I'm sorry, but they can't even really sell anything nowadays without a twist or rendition from our era.
Yes and no. Nostalgia just sells. Like people, when something nostalgia comes out, it takes you back to that time. For example, right now, you can go on your video game system, go to your video game store, and you can buy Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga edition, and it's like every Ninja Turtle game from when we were kids. Original Nintendo, arcade, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. I saw it and I was like, what is this? Oh my god! This is amazing! And
I hate that you really did that. Like, you sound just like Lavelle Crawford right
there. Excuse me.
No, don't die on us.
Man, look, not yet, man. He came too far. I came too far. Come on. But all that said to say, nostalgia just sells. Like that's just what people are. When you think of anything nostalgic, you think about how life was simpler in that time, right? And that's just nostalgia will always sell.
But even the younger generation likes the nostalgia without knowing the nostalgia. Like, for instance,
you right about that.
I've played, like, there's times like I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of looking at the stuff that they watch. I'm finna give them something from back in my day and see how, like, these mugs get done watching, like, oh my God, that was so dope. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I done gave them all the Three Ninjas. They didn't watch Nutty Professor. I done put them on Rugrats. Like, just anything from, you know what I'm saying, kind of like back then. And they love it. Like, it's like the best thing out. Even though the graphics is like 10 times worse than you've ever seen, they don't care.
Don't care.
My little ones, my 4 and 5-year-old will watch the old Mickey Mouse before Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. I'm talking about where it was the comic type Mickey flipping through the screen, and they be laughing and giggling like they really with it.
Hey, my boys, the last 2 nights in a row, I've caught them watching DuckTales.
Bruh, what's wrong with it? Like,
talk about some. No, I'm not saying I'm wrong with it. I'm just saying that, like, to your point, I'm just kicking it in the house, sitting on the couch right here. DuckTales, whoo! Like what?
Right, like
they rocking with DuckTales, bro. Hey, listen, quiet as a kept. You know what I've been watching in my spare time?
What's that?
Home Improvement. Doom, doom,
That's
doom.
funny you just said that. Me and Martin was just talking about Tim the Toolman Taylor.
Hey, that show was crazy raunchy and did not realize it when we were kids, bro.
I might have to go back and see it because I have no clue at this point.
Bruh.
Lately.
Bruh, Jill was roasting Tim and like didn't get it. Didn't get it at all, bro.
One flew over the cuckoo's nest, huh?
Man, look, 85 of them flew over the cuckoo's nest. You heard me? Listen here. Man, we run a long time, but I want to get at least this one last story out before we tap out for the night, man. Pieper Whus down in or not down, but over in Iowa. This was a
Pieper Whus.
Is her name not Lewis?
I don't know. You ain't sent me this one, but I thought we was finna hit the Brett Favre.
Nah, I would leave Brett Favre alone. Brett Favre was stealing money from welfare. We'll talk about that next week, or y'all just look it up. But this young lady, Pieper Whus, she was kidnapped. Not really kidnapped. I'm sorry. She was raped in 2020. She killed her rapist. And she has to pay $150,000 to the family of her rapist because of Iowa state law. I could have sworn I know I sent you this link, but anyway, here's what happened. She had an abusive mother. She ran away from home in 2020. Makes sense. Abusive mother, stay at home orders, nowhere to be but with that mama. She ran away from home to get free. She was sleeping in the hallway of a random apartment building. Doing that, some guy said, "Hey, you can come in this apartment." She did that because she's naive. She was 15. That person then began to use her for sex trafficking and allow her to be raped. And I so should have thrown out a trigger warning. So I am sorry to anybody else, but you can end the episode here if this is triggering. She runs away from home, has an abusive mother, runs away from home. She's living in the hallway of the apartment building. Somebody that lives in the apartment says, "You can stay here." The person that took her in begins to use her for sex trafficking, and somebody who had raped her because, he took advantage of the sex trafficking, she caught him sleeping. She grabbed a knife. She stabbed him. She stabbed him 30 some odd times. She killed him. Did you find the article?
I did, but you sent the New York Times. You got to pay for that.
Oh, man, they be tripping.
I be trying to get all my freebies from them. So, yeah, you send something like that to me, and more than likely, I ain't going to be able to see it. But nonetheless, you explained it, and she did everything she was supposed to do. One, that helps open the situation of showing sex trafficking, showing where you're at, you know what I'm saying, breaking up the whole little organization that he may have had going. Number two, that man deserved to be killed, you know what I'm saying, in his sleep or alive, so that makes me no difference. The problem is our fucked up judicial system, you know what I'm saying, because unfortunately there is laws and things set in place where you can be totally in the right and you still have to come out of money, just like in this situation. For instance, if somebody, that's why they tell you if you got your carry conceal permit, that don't shoot to hurt, shoot to kill. Because see, if you come in, I think you're about to do danger or threaten my life, and I shoot you in your kneecap on some, I just didn't want you to get near me so you couldn't hurt me. Now I gotta pay for your medical bills for the rest of your life. For that knee. Anything that surrounds that knee, I'm responsible for. And that's bull, because I may have been in my house, sleeping in my bed, heard a noise at the door. I'm getting to walk into the door, and here you come charging at me.
Well, that's crazy.
So, you know what I'm saying? And the same and vice versa, you know, she's probably paying, you know what I'm saying, money to the family because he probably had kids or something and what have you. And it's, you know what I'm saying, some BS that is restitution for the family because they lost their father, which they should have, you know what I'm saying, if he's a rapist. But it's the judicial system. There's no way I should go, or my lady or my daughter or my, you know what I'm saying, mother should go to court for killing somebody that misused her and abused her and have to pay anything, have to do a day of time or any of the sorts.
Yeah. So fortunately, someone started a GoFundMe for her case. She,
Big
I think she has like $500,000 in there. So she's got more than enough money needed to cover, you know, what she's got to pay that family. She had two charges that she was found guilty of. I forget exactly what they were. Each one is 10 years, so she has 20 years in jail. However, they were able to divert it into 5 years of probation. As long as she doesn't, you know, violate her probation in these 5 years, then she won't have to go serve that 20 years. So it sounds like it's the best ending possible, but it really highlights a hole. And like when I first saw this article, I couldn't help but to think back to our Women Making History series and our guest Randy. You know, and she shared her story with us. Definitely encourage everybody, if you haven't gone that far back in the archives, go that far back. Check out that series from last March or March of 2022. And Randy essentially talked about how she was raped. You know, she froze, right? And you know, people may have asked her, "Hey, you know, why did you freeze? Why didn't you do something? Why didn't you run? Why didn't you fight them off or anything like that?" Right? I don't think you can look at Pieper's situation and ask Randy why she didn't do anything differently. It's just further evidence that like the system ain't fair.
Oh yeah, that's what I said. It's definitely the judicial system that we have set up, and the laws and rules we have in place. Matter of fact, it's a perfect time to say go vote.
I was about to say voting matters.
You know, I mean, we should be coming up on an election here in the next
Yes.
couple months. So, you know, vote for your judges, vote for your, you know what I'm saying, your councilmen, vote for your magistrates and your jailers and your
Everything.
you know, anything on there, and know which ones is already in office. You know what I'm saying? Have a clue of somebody you want to replace them.
And then you might have a particular issue that's on the ballot.
Yeah.
Abortion is legitimately on the ballot this year in Michigan because of Roe v. Wade. When it got overturned, there was a 1931 law that was kind of already on the books. It's there, and now basically, without going too deep into Michigan politics, it's going to be on the ballot to decide if that law can actually be enforced or if it's going to be removed from the law books, from the state constitution.
Sound
So
like everybody need to read up on that issue. What's happening is going to post that. You know, Bradley find it up on the page. If you in Michigan, you need to go vote.
it's giving me jobs.
Hey, I mean, but for real,
Yeah.
you don't know who you can help or who you can say, but for right now, if any state, if you don't vote, if you know whatever, if any state has anything dealing with abortion on that ballot, y'all better show up and show out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's your last chance to really make a difference. The states really run this thing. So
Yeah.
making a difference in the ones who make a difference in your state.
Really and since we landed here anyway, in Michigan, we're also voting for governor this year. The Republican candidate for governor has gone on record, on audio, on video, to say that she does not support exceptions for rape and incest for abortion. She's literally said that. So pay attention to what's going on in your states and in your counties and in your cities, because this stuff is important.
Yeah.
Where can people find you at, Fred?
Fred Scott on Facebook. Go follow me.
Instagram.
Mr.humble_beginnings. I don't know if that's right.
That's right.
But other than that, Slick Willie 88 on Twitter.
Opening up the Twitter machine. Let's go. What you need to do?
I don't even know. I'm probably about to change it to Coach Fred though. go follow a bunch of coaches.
There you go. Well, y'all can follow Fred. I'm Brad Robinson 86 on Twitter. Brad Robinson 1986 on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. The show is What's Hattnin on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. You can find us wherever you get podcasts. You can leave us a 5-star rating and a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts. Please do that. Please share the show with a friend, because love is a verb. So if you like what we do, put some action behind that to help us to grow the show. We will be with y'all next week, and we'll see you then.
Peace.